3 rounds remain in the 2002 FIA Formula 3000 International Championship. Hungary, Belgium, and Italy. Welcome everyone to the Hungaroring, about 10 miles outside the beautiful and historic city of Budapest, Hungary, for round 10 of the 2002 season. I'm Bob Varsha along with David Hobbs. There is young Italian Enrico Toccacello with the Coloni team celebrating his first front row start of the year next to this man, our pole sitter, Thomas Enge with the Arden International team. Enge missed a wonderful opportunity to take over the championship points lead at our most recent race, but this weekend it is the Hungaroring, David.
And the Hungaroring is one of those racetracks, Bob, where it's very difficult to overtake. A lot of elevation change, quite interesting, but everybody really gives you the bad rap all the time. But it's a great circuit to view from, because along the left side of the picture there, from turn 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right through to 12, there's a great natural grandstand. You can see those two long 180-degree corners, one onto the start-finish straight, so you really want to get that one right, and of course, one at the end of the straight, which is where you'll see most of the overtaking going into turn 1 and turn 2.
It is an extremely technical track from the point of view of the drivers, but one long straightaway, virtually everything else is pretty much turning all the time. Zsolt Baumgartner, very much the crowd darling this weekend, the one and only Hungarian driver in the series. In fact, the only Hungarian internationally known racing driver at all.
Of course, the other thing about this track is it's fairly short, just under 2.5 miles. And we've got those 14 corners packed in there, and it's always hot here at the Hungaroring.
See, that long front straightaway is crowned so that the entry to the first turn is out of the driver's view. Now they begin the lap. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Enge on pole for the 4th time this year alongside Toccacello, who has out-qualified his higher-ranked teammate in the championship. Inside row 2, Giorgio Pantano, twice a winner this year, including our recent race in Germany. Sébastien Bourdais by 5 points, the leader in the championship. The Frenchman starts on the outside of row 3, out-qualified by Ricardo Mauricio with the Red Bull team. A bit of a surprise. Mario Haberfeld and fellow Brazilian Antonio Pizzonia will be on row 4. Bjorn Verdheim equaling his best at the German race with a 2nd place finish is Rob Nguyen, the Vietnamese-Australian driver, and Patrick Freisacker, he too out-qualified by his teammate for this round. And there is Baumgartner outside row 7. As you see the PSM crew pushing Nicholas Chiesa off the starting grid. He could not get that car fired. Still making its way around. This will be a very difficult racetrack. Very hard to pass here. Our pole sitter Thomas Enge's lap at 1 minute 28.120 seconds compares with the pole sitter for this weekend's Formula 1 Grand Prix. Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari went around at 1 minute 13.333 seconds, approximately 15 seconds faster than his counterpart in the Formula 3000 car. On board with Sébastien Bourdais, who has a lot of work ahead of him. He could lose the lead of the championship this weekend. He narrowly avoided it in Germany 2 weeks ago. Welcome back to the Hungaroring. The grid for round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 Championship is set, and we await the lights. One driver not on the grid. You see the empty spot left by Nicholas Chiesa, who was pushed away. Up come the revs. Good start, particularly for the cars on the inside dirty line, as our pole sitter Thomas Enge leads away from the preferred outside line.
2 Coloni cars side by side there. Pantano definitely wants to get in front of his teammate.
Rob Nguyen goes around in the white Astromega car. He might have gotten some help on that downhill right-hander at turn 1. Toccacello got the better of his Coloni teammate, Giorgio Pantano. He has to say, oh, we got a front wing flying off someone's car. It's like Ricardo Mauricio's Red Bull team machine.
Boy, these guys are really struggling hard there as they go through that turn 4. That is a quick corner. It's the quickest corner here. This is now turn 5. Which, whoa, side by side there, going to that chicane on the top of the hill here. The Coloni cars locked in combat. Look at the lead Thomas Enge's got, while all these guys duke it out behind him, getting in each other's way as they fight their way around this very tight and tricky circuit. Thomas Enger's just got the bit between his teeth and disappeared in the distance.
And that will be making Sebastian Bourdais absolutely crazy. He needs to get up there. Ricardo Sparafico goes around and off. Got around Patrick Freisacher's Red Bull car and then just went straight off into the gravel trap. Riding with Bourdais.
That was on board there where Sebastian Bourdais, looking at Mauricio. There you see the field very, very bunched up as they all go through turn 14, except for our leader. Look at him, already down into turn 1. Toccacello still leads Pantano.
Oh, that's Ricardo Mauricio with that damaged front wing. He doesn't have the front downforce he needs, and you can see that's why he locked up.
Well, if you lose any downforce here, you're just about had it, because this is a serious downforce circuit because it is relatively slow. Drag is not a major factor here. You've only got the one straight, which admittedly leads into the one overtaking spot, but you're still better off with the downforce. A lot of blocking going on in the middle of the field there.
That's Sparafico. His teammate Antonio Pizzonia. There you see him going out the bottom of your screen. He's known as Jungle Boy. He is Buffalo Boy today, passing cars left and right, trying to work his way forward. Started 8th, fell back. He's trying to come forward again. Saw the Minardi mechanics working on Christian Colby's front wing. Colby, one of 2 new drivers in the series this weekend. Colby is in for Alex Mueller. The other Minardi driver, Alex Sparafico, cousin to Ricardo and Rodrigo, is also out, replaced by young British driver Justin Keane. From the overhead shot, you saw Ricardo Mauricio being passed by just about everybody. As David said, he is in toast without that front wing.
Well, he's going to have to come in and get it rectified, but of course the trouble with these races, you know, it's only 38 laps around here. You're done for. You're toast anyway, whichever way you look at it. But if you come in and you can fight hard again, you're still better off to get it right than try and struggle around, because he'll just struggle right in the back.
There goes Sebastian Bourdais trying to make his way forward. His title rival, Thomas Enger, is out front and checking out. Bourdais was knocked around and out of our most recent race in Germany, but Enger could not take advantage as he dropped out of the race due to contact as well. Another look at the start. That's Antonio Pizzonia in the yellow and blue.
Well, Pizzonia was really the meat and the sandwich there. Nguyen was on the outside. Here you see Nguyen. Pizzonia can't go to the inside there because that's the other Red Bull car. So he's really kind of out to lunch, but Nguyen goes around.
This is Ricardo Sparafico, who made that passing attempt on Mauricio's crippled car, but got into the corner too hot and had to take to the gravel trap. On board with Sebastian Bourdais now. Looking up ahead, another view of Sparafico's off.
Right. Everybody using that curb on that couple of corners before the last corner there. The quickest part of the track here. They all try and cut that corner to try and make up time going to that last long left-hander.
Critical corner here. You want to get a good launch onto the front straightaway. And once again, I'm surprised, as I was at the race 2 weeks ago in Germany, to see team orders not in effect. Perhaps I'm jaded by Formula One, but right now I would think Enrico Toccacello would be told to let his teammate go by Pantano, 3rd in the championship.
Well, Sebastian Bourdais is leading the championship at the moment by only 5 points from Thomas Enger, who's leading the race, and Pantano is only just a few points out of that. So this would be an ideal opportunity for Pantano to make up some ground, because Bourdais is still behind him, on board now with Pantano.
There's another look at Ricardo Sparafico getting into Thiago Montero, Sebastian Bourdais' teammate, and that was a pretty substantial clout.
Poor old Thiago wandering down through the gravel there, wondering what on earth happened.
For 9th place. Right now, Thomas Enger is extending his lead in the early laps of round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 Championship. There's a look at your top 6. We'll be back to the Hungaroring in a moment. Welcome back on board in replay at the start of the race with series leader Sebastian Bourdais. Watch to the right of your screen. That's debris flying.
Well, Riccardo Mauricio there got carved up somewhat by Pantano, who really was taking his line, and Mauricio should have taken just a little bit more notice, tried to close a gap that wasn't really there, and had his front wing taken off, or started taking off. Subsequently, of course, it's gradually degrading and giving him less and less downforce.
Which is ruining the Brazilian's race, in a race in which you cannot afford any mistakes. It's a sprint race, no pitting. On board from Patrick Freisacker's Red Bull Lola. Every car in the field, a Lola chassis built to Formula One dimensions. Oh, it's sliding around back there. That was Thiago Monteiro and Rod Sperafico battling over 10th place and getting squirrely. As I mentioned, all the cars are Lolas. All the engines, Zytex V8s, making about 460 horsepower. All the cars on spec Avon tires, a very hard compound tire as well.
While we're in the break here, Riccardo Sperafico pulled off another dive bomb move here, going around Patrick Freisacker for 8th. That was a pretty determined effort by both of them there.
Oh, now here's a spin from Rod Sperafico after being passed by Thiago Monteiro for 10th place. That was a pretty fraught business.
That was the same action there from the back of Freisacker's car. So
Sperafico's had an interesting year. Won the season opener in Interlagos in Brazil, leading a top 4 sweep by Brazilian drivers, and led the championship briefly, but he's been going backwards since then.
Giorgio Pantano on board now as we come around that turn 14, looking at his teammate Toccacello, who we're assuming is going to get the word at some stage to let his teammate through. Toccacello, of course, really not having any points worth talking about. He's got 4 points for the year so far, as opposed to Pantano, who's got 34. So
race leader Tomas Enga just set fast lap of the race at 1 minute 30.108 seconds. There's Derek Hill, the young American, in 12th place. Qualified very well in the most recent race in Germany, but then had a very tough race, spun off a couple of times, and finished at mid-pack. There's Zolt Baumgartner, Hungarian racing driver who really put a charge through this crowd earlier in the weekend when he took one of the Jordan Formula One cars out for a few laps of honor.
Obviously, the hometown hero. Everybody here hoping he's going to do well. Zolt's had a bit of a mixed season so far. Not expecting to see him take the podium in this race, but nevertheless, a lot of local interest in him, no doubt.
He's got Derek Hill running just behind him there in the Durango Formula car with the orange mirrors. Back on board with Pantano.
This is that long left-hander. A lot of long corners here. Very tough on the old neck muscles, this track. Because these cars develop quite a bit of grip. And this is the turn 14. Same thing. Goes through 180 degrees. You come out and you've got to get a good exit to 14 there to get yourself down the straight.
Super slow-mo here. Both Coloni cars, Toccacello, followed by Pantano. On board with Pantano again.
Well,
I see the kickback in the wheel on the curves.
A lot of kickback. These cars seem to have a lot of kickback. I've noticed that in other races we've had this year. There's a tremendous amount of feedback. This is now going down out of turn 3. This is the fastest corner on the track coming up turn 4. This left-hand sweep leads into 5, down a couple of gears for here. This is another long corner. Then leads along the top of the hill, what I call the top straight here. And we've got a couple of chicanes and a great viewing. The spectators are right above us here.
Now, Pantano is obviously quicker than his teammate Toccacello. This is going to be extraordinarily frustrating for the third-place man of the championship if his teammate will not let him by.
And of course, extremely frustrating as he watches Thomas Enga in the third of these red cars disappear into the distance. And he needs to be up there with him because he really has got a shout at doing well in this championship. There you see Enga, who's just lapped Colby.
Christian Colby in the Minardi in his debut with the series. Remember, he had that wing change early on, so he is a lap down, actually 2 laps down now. On board again with Pantano onto the front straightaway. Race leader Thomas Enga, then Colby, several laps behind, and then Tocacello, followed by Pantano. We'll be back with more from Hungary in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 Championship for 2002. Looking back from Patrick Freisaker's Red Bull Lola.
There you see it being challenged now by Diego Montero in the Supernova car. This is for 9th position.
Ted Bjork started well back in 19th position, but as you see, he has made his way forward. The young Swede who jumped into that car mid-season. So look at the close battle between Freisaker and Montero. The Portuguese driver in his first season in the Formula 3000 Championship, and that was the view moments ago as he got a bit too close.
Locking up into turn 1 there.
Here's the race leader, Tomas Enga from the Czech Republic, the Arden International Lola.
Not a lot of suspension movement, as you can see, as they're bouncing over those curbs, and he's going to make it move that well, and very little movement in these modern race cars. Another view now from Freisaker back to Montero.
You see why I said earlier you spend very little time going in a straight line on this racetrack.
It moves all the time, and it's one of those places it's frustrating because you just can't get a decent run at anybody.
The story goes the racetrack was built on land bought from a local landowner, but the track ownership owns only the land on which there is either racing surface or paddock area or some of the adjoining buildings, timing and scoring and so forth, plus the grandstands, everything else, and there are no parking lots to speak of around this area, still owned by the original landowner, including the land inside the racetrack, that is within the bounds of the actual racing surface itself. So there's been very little improvement that can be done to the track simply because the track owners don't own that land.
Extraordinary did, isn't it, really? Pantano again, a good close-up there at the face cam. You can see his arms really flailing away. This is a very, very physical circuit. Very tough on the drivers, tough on the machines, tough on drive trains, because a lot of accelerating on the relatively slow corners, where the car is developing good grip as they go around these long, long corners. And it's very tough on the drivers. Their upper body take a real pounding here. Necks, shoulders, upper arms, really. And you can just see the steering input there all the time. Is flailing away at these little steering wheels.
Mechanics looking on from the pit lane. They have nothing really to do. If one of the cars comes in needing service, that race is essentially over. Tocacello now pulling away from Pantano a bit. A while ago, it looked as though Pantano just could not wait to get by his teammate.
No, he is pulling away, which is a bit of a surprise, unless Pantano's taking a bit of a breather here to make another run at him and try and run up to him and whistle by, lulling Tocacello to maybe a slightly false sense of security. A long turn 5. Of course, these cars have got slicks. The Formula 1 cars here the same weekend. Look at this. Good battle going on. Montero still trying to get around Freisaker. That wasn't a particularly smart place to try and get around him, but your choices here are very limited. You've really got to take the opportunity when it arises. Here we are going to this turn 4. Very quick left-hand sweep. Down a couple of gears into 5. Here comes Montero again. Then running along the top here. This is where the road, like you just said, Bob, it just moves all the time. Right, left, a little bit further down, left, and another right, just one after the other.
There's Baumgartner again in the Coca-Cola Nordic Racing car. Nordic Racing, the team champions from the 2001 season, but they went with two very young drivers this year, Baumgartner and his original teammate, young Australian Ryan Briscoe. But Briscoe was replaced for round 8 at Manicourt in France by the Swede Bjork, while Baumgartner soldiers on. Eric Hill running in 12th. After after qualifying in 15th. Son of 1961 Formula One world champion Phil Hill of the United States. Here's Tomas Enget, race leader, still drawing away inexorably, looking for his 4th victory of the season. And if the race were to end right now, he would become the new points leader in the championship.
Yes, Sebastian Bourdais not qualifying well. Down in 6th spot. He's up to 4th, but not making any impression on this leading trio at all.
Bourdais' an interesting story. I mean, he started the season like drums and guns. 5 pole positions in 6 races, quickly racking up victories. But since mid-season, he's been surprisingly off the pace, not qualifying as well, and certainly not looking like a race winner.
I don't know whether his car setup's gone away and that's why he's not qualifying well, or whether by not qualifying well he just doesn't like racing in the middle of the pack.
Well, his last race at Hungaroring in Germany was a classic example of what happens when you start in mid-pack. He got knocked around several times before retiring with crash damage. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Hungaroring and round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 International Championship for 2002. Bob Varsha along with David Hobbs watching a battle over the 6th and final championship point. There's Mario Haberfeld in the white Astro Mega car, followed by the 2 Petrobras Junior Team cars, Pisonia and Sperifico.
Obviously this is a tight battle and an important one, because that final point really matters, you know, in these long seasons, and the points are pretty spread out in both Formula 1 and Formula 3000, so it's every point you can get you need.
Let's look at the top 6. Championship leader Sebastian Bourdais with the Supernova team runs in 4th. Just behind him is Bjorn Wertheim, who finished 2nd at the Hockenheim ring. Wertheim, the Swede, coming alive.
Having another good day, which of course is all the better for Arden Racing. Somebody kicking up some dirt there. This is Freisacker still coming under pressure from Montero, Diego Montero. And meanwhile, Zolt Baumgartner and Derek Hill are winding these 2 in. Freisacker, obviously, I think a little bit off the pace, because it looks like Montero is quicker. He just can't get by him.
Definitely quicker. Plunging downhill here. We say it's difficult to pass here, but not impossible. Back in 1992, Nigel Mansell pulled off some absolutely amazing passes. I think he passed 12 cars in the Hungarian Grand Prix that year. Many of them on that strong plunging downhill straight before that very quick left-hander at turn 4.
Well, if you've got a car that's set up for a particular spot and there's any sort of open road after that, and you can really use that to your advantage, that's the way to make it not look easy, but that's the way to make it look good. And if his car was really good coming through turns 2 and 3, that would launch him out of that straight.
There's Sebastian Bourdais, the championship leader by 5 points, coming in over Tomas Enget, running in 4th place, but more than 8 seconds behind the 3rd place car of Pantano.
And he's only 6 seconds in front of Wertheim, and towards the beginning of the year, I mean, Bjorn Wertheim was not in the same league as Sebastian Bourdais, and here is just a couple of, just a few seconds behind him. Back to that terrific battle now between Freisacker, Montero, Baumgartner, and Derek Hill coming into the frame.
So Freisacker definitely holding up the train here. Oh, Montero lights up the right front. The unweighted wheel going into that right-hander. Losing downforce behind the car ahead of him, of course. Oh, whoa. That might have been a touch of, come on.
You have to be so careful in open wheel racing that you don't get those wheels tangled up. We've seen one happen a couple of times to Derek Hill in France a couple of weeks back. Well, yeah, 3 or 4 weeks back now. But
Ted Bjork and Alex Müller also at Manicourt.
Oh! That's his front wing gone.
Ah, you knew that was coming.
Nailed him in the back. That lets Zolt Baumgartner get alongside. Here comes Derek Hill. So Montero's day looks like it's done. He's trying to hold off Derek Hill. Didn't work.
Well, pick your theory of passing. Montero was so close to the gearbox of Freisacker. I mean, you have to be far enough back to get a run on a guy, I would think.
Yeah, well, the problem is he was in the corner there where there was really no chance of actually overtaking. Here he sees, I think he just left it all a little bit late, locks everything up, launches over the curb, which of course obviously destroys any chance of the car slowing down anymore, because now the wheels are all up in the air, and that just launched him right into the back of Freisacker's car. I wonder if it's done any damage to Freisacker. Let's have a look.
Good view.
Oh, the nose hits the back of his right rear wheel, lifted up, and it looked like the nose clipped Freisacker's wing, but his wing looks okay, doesn't it? Here's Montero into the pits.
You can see the damage to the nose.
In the Supernova car, teammate to Sebastian Bourdais. Supernova, of course, at the moment lying second in the championship, so this won't be very good for their points. Oh, look at that, Jean Todt there in the pits.
Ferrari team manager. Super successful team manager, I might add. He's in the Coloni pits.
Relatively successful, don't let's get carried away.
Oh, he's only won Le Mans about 4 times with Peugeot.
In the World Championship.
How many times with Ferrari?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's got a street named after him in his native community in southern France. Other than that, I guess he hasn't done much. Well, the race continues. There is your top 6. Haberfeld desperately holding on to that 6th and final points-paying position from the 2 Petrobras Junior team drivers, Pizzonia and Speraffico. And then Freisacker leading this battle for 9th place that has already claimed Thiago Montero. We'll be back. Welcome back to round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 International Championship for 2002. I'm Bob Varsha with David Hobbs, bringing you tape-delayed coverage of the 2002 season in anticipation of live or same-day coverage of the F3000 Championship in 2003 here on Speed Channel. We're watching the battle for 9th place. Patrick Freisacker in the Red Bull car from Austria. Just behind him in red, the Coca-Cola Nordic Racing car is the crowd darling Zsolt Baumgartner of Hungary.
And just behind him is the American darling, I suppose, Derek Hill, son of world champion, 1961 world champion. And right behind him is... Who is right behind him? Oh, that, of course, is Ted Bjork.
Bjork, the Swede, having a good run in his 3rd race in the series, or actually 2nd race if you don't count the first, when he was taken off on the pace lap by Alex Speraffico and in the European Minardi. See, this is all well uphill.
Gravel starting to appear on the track now, which is going to make things a little bit difficult later on.
The Nordic Racing crewmen all watching the big screens.
What a season they're having. Champions last year. Not one single point this year. I mean, they must be just completely dumbfounded, I would think.
I would think.
Couldn't imagine.
Oh, Mario Haberfeld locking him up. Pizzonia and Speraffico following.
Kicking up more dust there. The 2 Petrobras cars really hounding Mario Haberfeld now in the Astra Amiga.
Haberfeld's been doing this for a long time here in Europe. He began racing in British Formula Ford back in the early 90s. Ran British Formula 3 for many years. This is his 4th season in Formula 3000.
Well, Mario Haberfeld's career, I fear, in open wheelers has kind of stalled out a little bit, and because obviously Formula 3000 is racing for a means to an end. This is not the end. This is the means to get to the end being Formula 1. And you don't want to be stuck in Formula 3000 for, well, really more than a year, two at the most. It's the sort of thing you really need to be plucked out about halfway through the 2nd season, as everybody says, boy, this bloke is really is good. We need him for something else. But Mario really kind of running out of options now of what to do.
Well, he may be heading across the pond to American shores for some open wheel racing.
I was going to say, it'll be interesting to see what he does in 2003, because he doesn't want to do another year of Formula 3000, really.
Kart or IRL in the United States, perhaps. There's Zsolt Baumgartner, young Hungarian. Hungary really has a long history in motorsports, going back to the early days of the 20th century. Never a tremendous numerical representation at the top levels of motorsport, but every now and then there are Hungarian drivers that have done well.
Well, we've got a Czech leading the race, which is also not exactly an everyday occurrence to have Czechoslovakian drivers or drivers from the Czech Republic. So Thomas Enger there, we've actually seen him in Formula One briefly. As you can see, he's got a huge lead now over Tocacello in second spot. And Zsolt Baumgartner, who we've been watching, is racing very well here. He might be relatively familiar with the circuit, although they don't do a lot of racing on this circuit. Zolt's season started off a bit indifferently. He had a spin at the very first race at Brazil and had some more spins, but he's really driving very well today. So obviously this guy is improving rapidly.
Watching Tomas Enger, you saw his ardent international team checking the monitors. Owned by Christian Horner, a former driver. And now Enrico Tocacello has definitely left his Italian countryman and title contender Giorgio Pantano in the dust.
A lot of daylight between them now. Well, that Sebastian Bourdais is another 8 seconds adrift of Pantano. So this race, uncharacteristically for Formula 3000 race, stringing out somewhat. Big gap. Oh, the two Petrobras cars really duking it out between each other there, which has given Mario Haberfeld a bit of a breather.
Of course, the ultimate indignity. Oh, Haberfeld, big lock up there. The ultimate indignity and violation in international motorsport is to collide with one's teammate.
This is definitely not on. Understeer there from Thomas Enger's car. Big understeer.
He remains easily the leader here in round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 Championship, looking for his 4th win of the season and the championship lead. Welcome back to round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 Championship, and you're looking at a ticking time bomb. This is Patrick Freisacker, and the crowd behind him just gets bigger and bigger. And there you see Rob Nguyen just looking for a way to move up.
Boy, this is a frantic battle considering how far down the field it is, but they're all trying hard. That's Diego Montero's been into the pits, had a new nose fitted after his coming together, and obviously going very fast, but he's got this line of cars in front of him. He's going to have a job to get by them. Of course, he must be a lap down too, at least 1 lap down.
8 cars in the line. Freisacker, Baumgartner, Hill, Bjork, Keane, Sparafico, Nguyen, and Montero. Oh, and Montero is doing it again. He took his own front wing off at that same part of the racetrack by following Freisacker too closely. Now here he is doing the same thing with Rob Nguyen.
He's certainly pretty close. You think they're once bitten, twice shy, but Diego Montero wants to start picking these people off. But it's all rather late in the race for him to make any substantive progress.
Just 4 laps to go for the race leader, and here he comes. Tomas Enger, this could get real interesting if he comes up on that group.
Well, at this stage of the game, if I was him, I'd sort of
drop anchor.
Yeah, because he's got a 6-second lead over Tocacello, and he could always hold Tocacello at bay, I'm sure, because he won't be able to get by them any more easily than Enger will be. But it is going to be interesting to see what happens when he catches up with Montero, who's obviously on a bit of a tear this afternoon. I.e. tearing up noses.
Wide line in the entry to turn 1 for Enger. There's Tocacello taking a more traditional line.
There's Pantano.
Kind of splits the difference. Oops. Mario Haberfeld and Antonio Pizzonia, 6th and 7th. Are they the only 2 cars involved? Here's Pizzonia evidently wants to have a word with his countryman.
Up. Who doesn't want to have a word with Pizzonia? Good job they got helmets on. The marshals out there, plenty yellow flags out.
Oh, look out. Oh, Derek Hill spins and hits Pizzonia's car. And 2 other cars slide. Rod Sparafico, Derek Hill's teammate.
Rod Sparafico's backed off there. Oh, that's what happens when you don't take notice of the yellow flag. We can only see the yellow flags here, but I'm sure there's yellow flags flying at the corner before this as well.
Those two corner workers were almost taken out. I think I'd be a bit more circumspect about walking back out there.
I'm sure they will be now.
Wow, that was close. SC on the signboard means safety cars coming out.
It is upside down. It still means the same thing.
Well, most of them probably don't know what it means anyway. Now he's got it right side up. Crack pit marshalling at work here.
Oh, wow. Safety car with just a few laps to go.
He's coming out in front of, I believe that's Montero. Let him pass by.
He's letting him pass.
Waiting for the race leader.
He's letting him by.
Here's another look. This is Haberfeld and Pizzoni.
Oh my goodness me. I lost count. Boom. Oh. No wonder he wasn't greeting Pizzoni with friendly affection.
At least 5 complete barrel rolls. And then later on, this is Derek Hill has already spun into Pizzonia's parked car. There goes Rodrigo Sperafico backwards off to the left. Montero goes around the outside of the wreckage. Now here's Derek Hill colliding with Pizzonia's car and getting that close to those two corner
Marshall's backing up there. Good job. They saw him coming. Because he was a bit blindsided by the cars in front of him, but still, when you see the yellow flag, you're supposed to be.
This is Freisacker's car. He almost understeered into Pizzonia's car. Wow.
Well, we assume there was caution flags at the corner before this, because obviously, as you can see, those flags are a little bit out of the driver's line of sight, because he's looking at the corner, which is a good, 50 feet away from that flag.
That would be the shot to have. What could they see from the cockpit approaching the corner, not exiting it? At that point, the damage is done.
Oh, my goodness me.
A very close moment.
Boy, I don't like to see that. Those marshals really doing a tremendous job out there trying to help, and really putting themselves in a lot of danger there.
Now the question is, will they get the area cleared before we run out of laps? Just a couple to go. We'll take a break and return in a moment to round 10 of the FIA Formula 3000 Championship. Welcome back to Hungary. Here's another look at what brought out our yellow flag. 1, 2, 3. Well, I'd say 3.5 with a full twist.
Exactly, absolutely. My God. That was an amazing looking spin. Here we see Haberfeld getting out of his car.
Pizzonia comes up.
Pizzonia comes out. Gotcha.
It's not exactly the secret fraternity handshake that Haberfeld gives Antonio Pizzonia. And then seconds later, as two course workers were out attending to Pizzonia's car, the field comes around and Derek Hill spins into Pizzonia's stationary car. Rodrigo Sperafico spins off backwards. The field scatters. Fortunately, no one hurt. And it appears that with the safety lights out on the safety car, we will go green with 1 lap remaining and the field bunched.
Absolute miracle that nobody was hurt, including those two marshals. That could have been really, really disastrous.
So as they come around to the green flag with 1 to go, it will be Anga, followed by Toccacello, Pantano, Bourdais, and Mauricio is a lap down. And everyone else strung out too far to make any difference. Here we go. Oh, Bourdais in the blue and yellow car all over the back of Pantano.
This is Bourdais' chance to make up a couple of points, because he can see the leader, Thomas Enge, and he can just do the math himself, sitting in there, that this means that Thomas Enge is going to take the lead of the championship away from Sebastian Bourdais if the positions remain the same as they are, and as there's only less than half a lap to go, I think the chances are very good. But if he could squeeze by Pantano, that would help his quest a little bit.
On board with Bourdais in 4th. Briefly.
That's where the accident happened just now, a moment ago.
Anga drawing away with ease. Toccacello, no problem from his teammate Pantano.
Thomas Enger obviously got a really good chassis set up for this racetrack.
Bourdais lighten him up. The uphill left-hander, but it appears he will run out of time. Off the corner for the final time they come. Thomas Enger will pick up his 4th victory of the season. Unofficially, Enrico Toccacello will finish 2nd, Giorgio Pantano 3rd, and Sebastian Bourdais in 4th. You see Enger enjoying himself along the pit wall.
And Bjorn Verdheim, Thomas Enger's teammate, finishes 5th. So the Arden International scoring points for both cars there, which is good.
As they did when they scored a 1-2 finish, the first victory for the team in Austria earlier this year. Thomas Enger putting on a little car control display for the fans. He is now unofficially the championship leader in the FIA Formula 3000 title chase by a couple of points over Sebastian Bourdais. We'll take a break and return to wrap things up from the Hungaroring in a moment. Welcome back to the Hungaroring. Thomas Enger cannot wait to get out of his race car and greet his team. After his 4th victory of the season, he surely knows that he is the new leader in the FIA Formula 3000 Championship for 2002.
Well, he's had a very lucky that last week, of course, or 2 weeks ago in Germany, him and Bourdais were both out, but this time with leading substantially from Bourdais in 4th, really helps him leap into the lead.
Once again, he's looking for his cap to put on as he heads for the podium. Final results: Enger over Toccacello, who handled his more highly regarded teammate Giorgio Pantano, and Sebastian Bourdais in 4th place misses the podium and loses his championship lead. Riccardo Sperafico picks up the final championship point in 6th spot, and then Patrick Freisacher, the Austrian, who held on for grim death, keeping all of those cars behind him, actually moved up a couple of spots at the very end. Haberfeld, Pizzonia, and Hill, as well as Rodrigo Sperafico, the 4 principal cars involved in that amazing wreck with a handful of laps to go. Enger now the leader by 2 points over Bourdais. Pantano still in the hunt, but his hopes are fading quickly with just 2 races to go in the 2002 season. In the team's championship, Arden International remains the leader over the Supernova team, chiefly on the strength of those 4 victories by Thomas Enger.
Supernova slipping badly there behind now. Red Bull coming up last, and Nordic Racing, as we're keeping track here, still no points.
Up on the podium, Thomas Enger. On the right, Giorgio Pantano. On the left, Enrico Toccacello. And as we saw in our last race at Hockenheim, when Bjorn Wertheim of Sweden finished 2nd, both he and Toccacello are very tall.
They are tall. There's Christian Horner, pretty happy today. Thomas Enger winning the race. His other driver, Wertheim, coming in 5th, so picking up 12 points today. Oh.
And now the champagne. That's going to make for an interesting final 2 rounds to the championship, with just a couple of points celebrating the top 2, as you see there. Enger and Bourdais. Pantano with a very difficult road to the championship, but he is not mathematically eliminated yet. You love this part. You fill a guy's face with that sticky, stinging champagne, and then you go up and clap him around the shoulders as though everything was just fine. 2 more rounds of the championship to go. The next round could not be on a track more diametrically opposed to this one. We go to the wide open spaces of Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern.